All right, here we are.
All right. Wala. Niakit Janet.
Madawi ka.
Kunamante.
Yo,
Wina.
it's the Huntedish.
Halito.
Do you say Kunmante already?
Yes.
Oh.
Sio.
Itati Nakusach.
Stongo.
Hawata, everybody.
Stongo. Oshkin Yacha. Hinapi. Yate.
Kikadoos.
So there was a debate this morning about how to say Yatehe.
Yeah, not between us. We know the right way.
Natalie, would you give us how you say it? How do you say it?
I am not Danae, but I was taught by my Danae family and friends that it is Yaate, and they will even slang down to Yaate, Yaate, like that. So, and they said that in their area, if you say Yata hey, that they can tell that you're not from the area.
Well, yeah, that's how we. I mean, that's basically how we were taught. Yate. You know, like because Katie she's Danae. Yeah, she's Navajo. So she is Danae, and that's why we started saying it. So, with that being said, Yate. Good morning. Good morning. Coming live from 1950 South Shepherd. Um, I had been thinking while handling my business, about I was sick for the past couple of days.
Can't believe.
And yeah, I never
You
get
had
sick,
perfect
right?
attendance this
I never
whole
get sick.
time.
But a stomach bug crept in, and it happens. It happens.
Kissing all the people from the outreach.
Yeah. So, what was your takeaway from that outreach? With the less fortunate.
I love it. Like I think that's what we started doing like years and years ago. But we kind of got busier on the recovery side, and so it's nice to go back to how
The
we started.
roots.
Yeah, the roots, and just making those connections, reaching out to people when they're not expecting. Because
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing is like whenever we do our general outreaches, it's always people that are already taking care of themselves, already looking for resources.
Yeah.
And so whenever we do a pop-up one outside in a city, because usually we're not even in
We're
metro areas, it's nice to see people stumble upon us and see what's out there, make connections, make friends. And so it was nice going back out, and I'm glad we're gonna start doing it just every week.
I like the way that I think there's a stigma around, and I hate using the word homeless. I like to say less fortunate. Like I don't know. Like it just I don't want to brand them as like that's who they are. Like they're just, to me, they're just less fortunate. And I I was thinking, like, I don't know, maybe it's because of, you might see somebody who's having a mental health, episode or something, and they're acting out. So then that kind of like gives you this stigma about how people that are less fortunate walking the streets, like how they'll be towards you.
Yeah, they're
Like you don't ever want to chance it, right?
yeah.
And all the cities that I've been to, from the East Coast to the West Coast, I would have to say Denver was probably the most, where they were the most dangerous. Like, so you kind of like build up this defense against, those that are, less fortunate, right? So what I liked was they were all, like, I would say 95% of them were completely receptive.
Yeah.
And we're just like willing to engage, in a regular conversation. And I know that there are more natives out there, I think they kind of stick together.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like us finding those camps. But I mean, like I think you also got to understand what it is going to one of those camps. You can't just walk up there.
Ding dong diction.
Yeah, like they have like security.
Mhm,
They have people that are watching out for them because I'm sure a lot of people don't think a lot of them.
mhm.
They're kind of forgotten and kind of kicked to the curb. And just see them as somebody that's going to take advantage of a situation. So it was cool to be shout out to Curtis. I never got Curtis's last name, but he was in it. Like he knows where these camps are. He knows where to go. He knows who to talk to. Like I felt like that was real important for us too. To be able to just pull up and get out and be like, hey, we're just trying to keep. Do y'all have any harm reduction supplies? Most of them are like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to remember that name. When somebody offers you harm reduction, always tell them yes. Like it's gonna be something that's gonna help you, and if it's not gonna help you, then you can always pass it along to somebody who can benefit from these products. And it gave me like a new perspective, I guess. For to see somebody who has completely lost everything, and they're still holding on to their addiction, right?
Mhm.
And it may not even be that. There may be, like I said, a mental health, you know, uh, episode going on in their life. Or like there's just so many different variables that go into what brought a person to where they are today. But I felt good. It feels good. Just being able to acknowledge these people and let them know, like I'm not gonna get anything, by handing you these products, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna
Yeah, it's
benefit
not a transaction.
me at all. Like, and it was to the point where even the police pulled up. We went to the Homeless Alliance. Police pulled up, and I think they were just being nosy
Mhm.
because Theta's got the bag on her arm, and I'm trying to let her control. Just kind of like monitoring. I feel like I'm good at reading people. So like just kind of hanging back, making small talk. Met a Kyle brother out there. And just let them know, like, hey, bro, like I know your people. Like I know if you call them, like they will be able to help you. Oh, nah, bro, I'm good. Like I'm staying safe. What do y'all got? Like if we gave them some kind of harm reduction supplies, we always made sure we gave them Narcan. And what they all said was, man, y'all's about 30 minutes too late because they just hauled somebody out of here who just overdosed. And it's just like, wow, like,
Happens a lot.
fentanyl test kits, they're like, yeah, I need as many of those as I can because somebody's always trying to lace me. Like I don't know, like it was just, trying to understand their reality.
Mhm.
And it just gives you, I think I don't want to say like it just made me feel better about my sobriety, but I just also think like of how close I was to being there with them.
And how close any of us are possibly there
Yeah, like
now.
how far away
How
did
far
I
are
get
we?
from being right there with them? Like I don't know, like it just sparked something in me. Like I felt like that's like it doesn't bother me to go down there.
Mhm.
We did have one situation where we went over by the night shelter, and there's like rows and rows of tents over there. And it did not, like there's one young man, kind of seemed like a mental health episode going on. I don't know if that's the right, language for that, but I mean, like he obviously was bothered by us being there. But all his friends were real receptive, and they were kind of talking him down, like, "Nah, bro, like you're all right, man. They're fixing to leave, like." But we just didn't really pay any mind to it. But at the same time, focusing on,
Yeah,
like,
hate it, but be
yeah,
aware of it.
like we're gonna handle our business. We're gonna do what we can and offer some help, and then we'll skedaddle right on down the road.
Mhm.
But I mean, I because I got an older cousin, he's around that area. Unfortunately, he's been on the streets for a while, and he does straighten up every once in a while. Thank God, that he has a place to go. Because I mean, I tried to let him come and stay with me, and he brought a gun with him. Like, I got a grandbaby. Like that stuff ain't cool. So I feel bad that I'm not able to be that support that he needs, but I'm also thankful that he has a place to go. So like I can see myself in those people, and also my cousin in those people.
Mhm.
And it just, I don't know, like it helps me be thankful for what I have today, but it, like Nat was saying, it also makes me realize that I'm not too far from being in that position.
Yeah.
So I mean, I that was my takeaway from going there. So on Tuesdays at
12 to 4.
23rd and MacArthur,
Yep.
there's Second Chance thrift store, and they'll be doing, we got some partners, community partners.
Yeah.
They're going to
Unnamed.
come out,
Unnamed. They're super secretive.
that are going to come out, and they're doing STI and AIDS testing, which is, I think, something else that we need to talk about, because the cases are on the rise, and the most affected are Native Americans. So like, and we're not just like, all these people are dirty, we need to go, like, not that, it's by the actual positives that they've been getting from people coming and getting tested. I mean, they provide a little snack,
Yeah, a little sack lunch.
little sack lunch. It's, I think next week they're gonna have showers and washing machines and dryers there.
That's what they're shooting for.
They're shooting for it.
Yeah, and so they're trying to have it's called Be Heard, which is a program that kind of goes around and then provides like portable showers so that way people can shower, do their laundry and all that stuff. I'm not sure if they're starting next week, but they're gonna definitely try
Yeah,
to
they're
take it out
definitely
eventually.
trying.
Yeah, and so it'll be a cool time. That's why I was kind of sad that we got accepted into that training that we're having.
Oh, we're not gonna be there next week.
No, we'll have Mingo, Ron, and Shayna going out there next week.
Okay.
But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Shane is coming on. That's
see?
cool.
But yeah, because next week on Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be doing a Train the Trainer course by Opioid Response Network, and so
That's right. That is right.
it'll be a fun time.
Well, I mean, it's. I just enjoy that we get to interact. Because to me that's like grassroots,
Yeah,
peer recovery work right there.
yep.
Like that's like, it doesn't get any like that.
Fruitier.
Yeah, like it doesn't get more original
Yeah,
than going out there and meeting the people that I feel like, the part of the community that a lot of people forgot about. And Curtis said something while we were having a conversation. um, he said, one thing I've heard about addiction that has always stuck with me, he said, is that the way it was explained, and he said, and this is from a guy in prison, he said that addiction is the only prison that locks from the inside.
mhm.
Like that. I can't quit thinking about that. Like that makes so much sense. It doesn't matter how far this thing has pulled you down. Like the way I think of it is like it always wants more.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what it's taken from you. Your kids, your home, I mean, your sanity, like your peace, like all these things that it was able to affect. It still wants more, right? It's always willing to take more. When you've given up everything, it still wants more. So I'm very thankful for Robbie and the thought of us, to include us. I mean, you know, uh,
Yeah, we
I
got
enjoy it.
some ride or dies that ask us to do stuff. So
Definitely.
absolutely, we're gonna jump on. And then it's funny. Everybody's always like, "Do you guys need like approval to?" We're like, "Nah, we just need forgiveness. We'll be out there." Like, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
We just need forgiveness.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, we're a bunch of idiots.
yeah, it's fun seeing how quick we can move. Because some people they need to like route a whole policy or um get approval from multiple levels of leadership. Yeah, and we're more of like we know what needs to happen and we're
Yeah.
just gonna make it happen. And then if we get in trouble, we get in trouble. But I would rather get in trouble
9
helping
times out of
people.
10,
They're like, that was
Yeah.
a great idea. Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's not going to benefit us
Yeah.
at all. So, sometimes we'll take a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
It
It
take
works
a pot
out.
shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Celebratory pop shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool seeing like our focus of what Tor is written for is so tiny, so like basic, but everything
The
that we
scope
do,
that we
yeah, is huge. Like it's way more broad, but also targeted efforts. And so it's cool seeing, what's proposed on paper versus what's actually happening. Like in our program for Tor, we're not writing to provide clothing for people. We're not
No.
providing hygiene items or anything, but we make it happen by using partners, donations, anything that we can do.
Yeah.
We try
The
to
culture closet.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many aspects to this thing that needs, and I think it was just maybe looking at what's needed.
Hmm.
Like common sense, like what if a person does want to come off the streets? Where can we help them at?
That's a big focus of Warrior Down too.
Yeah.
Like with
Yeah,
Will
Warrior
Brady
Down,
and Warrior
definitely.
Down is like when you have a Warrior Down because we're all fighting this battle
Yeah.
together. When you have a Warrior Down, you have to think outside the box of what they might need. They might need socks. They might need harm reduction. They might need
Not
food. Yeah, they might.
CID.
Yeah, things like
know,
that. And
so-
so the only way we can do that is to have joint efforts and come together as
The
all
healing
of the
of
programs.
one is the healing of all.
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in that now. It's been took me a couple of trainings, but I'm
only got
starting to
like 19
understand.
certifications. Now it's clicking.
Well, at least it clicked. Yeah. Once.
It's like trying to start a car. It's just
Yeah.
not
Do we have any comments?
Yes,
Can you
there's
please scroll back
several
up?
good
At least one.
mornings. There are, let me go all the way here. Daniel Givens said, I want to be
Oh,
the first to say
Stongo.
good morning.
Stongo.
Leanna Thomas.
Miss
Mama
Thomas.
Leanna says, good morning, fellas. I finally caught the beginning of the live.
Oh, hey, thank you for tuning in, Miss Thomas.
Brother Drew says, good morning, brothers.
Good morning, little brother.
Brother Dave Levi says, good morning.
All right, all right.
Janice Meeks says, good morning, guys.
Got one.
And then Bial von Frankenstein, is that how
Yeah.
you say his name?
In German.
Good morning, Yatte from the Southern Utah Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
Leanna also says it's really awesome that you'll be doing. Hang on, let me pin this one so I can read it. It's really awesome that you'll be doing the outreach every week, but for the grace of God, there I go. And then let's see. Your aunt Jessie Botone says Nyake
J-Bo.
nephew Barry Botone
Good morning,
in China
nephew.
Arapaho Tour Project. Mikai Clark, Kikadoos, listening
Hey,
from
Kikadoos,
SBPH.
that's the one we left out.
Kikadoos?
Kick a dude.
Oh,
you didn't.
no, I
Yeah,
thought.
I did.
No,
I did.
no.
I was there. Play it back.
Nope.
She says she's listening from SPTHB headquarters, packing harm reduction kits. As
Oh,
is.
hey, we'll
Yeah,
probably
probably
be
steal
touching
them.
on those.
Yeah, they're probably coming here,
Yeah.
Mikai.
Cool. Thank you
David
for tuning
Deere.
in, Mikai.
David Deere says good morning.
Stongo David.
Phyllis
Stongo.
or Joe says
the
good
realest.
morning.
Phyllis the realest.
All Phyllis the realist. Francis Lombear says, "Hey yo, good morning,
Hey,
human
good morning,
being."
brother. That's my big brother right there. Good morning, brother.
And I never know how this is supposed to be read.
The
It's Mary.
Mim.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, the
Mary.
undercover.
Mary.
But I want to know how
Mary
she
Whitpro.
says
Mary
this, like-
Nicole Yellowman.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
Mary
just put
Lynn.
her on
Mary
blast.
Lynn.
Miriam.
Hey, I know. Hey, what's her social?
Yeah,
Eh?
social and blood type.
Good morning, sister. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Derek
I'm just
Ponkelet.
kidding. That's not her.
Yeah.
I just made up a name.
I know.
Yeah.
Did everything but put her
I just
chony
made that
size
up.
up here. All right. Good morning, brothers from Apache, Oklahoma. Derek Ponkilla.
Hey, all right. Thank you for tuning in, brother.
That's it. So
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. But yeah, so what do we have? See, today what we got going on? We're going to the CHR event.
Mm-hmm.
First we're going to social services.
Yep, we're
And-
going to.
Well,
train
y'all are.
everybody. Well, I don't know. I mean, if we're driving too,
Ah.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We might be the grillers, so we might skip it.
Yeah, they
and then
got
make the hotties do the Narcan treatment.
But do they know how to do it?
Mingo will be part of the hotties today, I guess.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
OG
He's
hottie?
definitely a hottie.
the OG hottie,
Hot stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
eye candy.
But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna train all of the social services department on Narcan training, overdose symptoms, all that stuff, and then we will be at the CHR Kids Summer Fun event, and that is in Kingfisher from 4 to 7 at the Kingfisher Park where the pool is. And so, if you guys want to go swimming or just hang out, we'll be grilling, and that'll be 4 to 7 today.
All right, all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do we got tomorrow?
I just erased the count. Nothing. Tomorrow's an easy,
Yeah.
easy day. Just
So
meetings.
I'm coming in, do the live, and then bounce. But yeah, so then on June 5th
Yeah.
is the All-State Native American what is it called?
The Native American All-State football game.
Yes.
But this is the Gore Dance Media on the right.
Yeah, it'll be the
And
day before the game.
All-State dance.
The game is on the 6th, but on the 5th,
Mhm.
we're gonna have all the players come in and kind of get a little bit of some CNA culture.
Yep.
Which they can take part. As we all know, when it comes to gourd dancing, anybody and everybody is always welcome to get out there, even if you don't have a gourd. That's what I like about gourd dance. I think about that. Our Mexican brother up there in Tulsa. Like when we went to Trail of Hope.
Mhm.
Dude's been a part of like Wellbriety for a while, and he's seen a chance to get up there. Boy, your brother was out there like just
Jamming.
before he even had a gourd. And like, you want a gourd? Like then he really took off. But yeah, on the 5th at the Annex at Jinx Simmons, we're going to do a exhibition, but like a mini powwow.
Yeah, an all Gore dance.
All gourd dance.
Benefit dance.
Yeah,
thing.
benefit dance.
So we'll have some raffle items. We'll have cakewalk 50-50, hopefully, and it'll be from 5 till
we get done.
Yeah, till we're done. But all the money will go to the Native American All-State Football fund, pretty much, because it is just a self-starter fund, honestly.
Yeah, really.
And so this will help pay for next year's game, and then we'll hopefully keep rolling.
Keep
out
it
more
going,
stuff.
yeah.
Yep. And so it'll be a fun time. And then Friday, the 6th, is whenever we will have the actual Native American All-State football game. We're also going to do a halftime show. So if you know any singers or dancers that want to come out and show support, have them come out, because we need as much representation as we can get.
Definitely.
And then everybody that participates as a singer or dancer for the halftime show will be entered into a drawing for, I think it's a 50-inch TV.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Have 2 or 3 drums.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
Because what? How many people you think can fit around a drum? Big guys.
Big guys? How big?
I'd say Emic size.
Amick? Well,
Not
he's
Billy,
only big up
Emic.
top. He's got little baby
He's
legs.
got little buns.
Yeah. I know. He's got to have a kid's
Baby
belt on.
buns. Big man boat, little buns.
I know. He needs suspenders because his belt doesn't stay.
But yeah, but yeah, that's a cool incentive.
Mhm.
That's the way, because that's if it wasn't for our singers,
Yeah, we would have
none of this would be happening. So I like the fact that we always like to take care of the drum.
Mhm.
No matter what. Like when we were there Friday, there was 4 or 5 singers.
Oh, Saturday.
Or Saturday.
Yeah, yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, there's 4 singers.
4 singers, and I mean, I thought they did pretty good.
Mhm. Yeah. It was hot in there too. So
It was.
them surviving in there was.
I was in there having visions.
Yeah.
I kept threatening, I'm gonna take off my shirt.
Yeah, I didn't complain the whole time. It's so hot in here.
Natalie,
Yeah.
No, just wait until.
Yeah, and then you're all mad. Oh, it's because I joined being stupid with you guys. And wearing our shirt.
like my tip
Yeah.
hits are fucking
Yeah.
on fire right now.
Yeah.
Just be
Yeah,
stupid with that.
Yeah. Then Nat brought towels. Those towels were soaked within like 2 minutes. Just drained.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't have
But
to make sense.
it was all right. It was all right. I got through it. I lived. I lived. Miraculously.
I know it
lived
was a
through that.
miracle seeing that.
But yeah, that'll be next week. What else do we got next week? Oh, the training.
Yep.
The training.
Our training, 5 of us will be doing Opioid Response Network.
Opioid
Training
Response
the
Network.
trainer certifications, and then then the Gord dance on Thursday, Friday the All-State game. And so it'll be
So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be at the training.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Just Tuesday and Wednesday, and
so
then we
Monday will
check
be here.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so they'll be doing their circles and jails still, and then once they come back, you guys can go check into your fancy hotel that's just down the street.
Hey, I'm with it.
I know.
I'm with
Yeah,
it.
they were just like, "Hey, we'll provide a hotel." I was like, "I guess." And
Hell
Tina's
yeah.
Like, absolutely. She literally lives like 5 minutes away. She's
Be
like,
late.
yeah, she's like, "It's the Omni. It's a free trip." I was like,
Yeah,
I
for
guess."
sure. I mean, if it wasn't for this, I don't think I'd ever step foot inside that thing. So
Yeah, we always drive by it. Wow, that's a cool hotel.
I know, like, I wonder what that's like. So it'll be cool. I like, it's just another opportunity.
Mhm.
Another opportunity to get certified in something that can benefit our communities.
Yeah.
And Opioid Response Network, I mean, they do a lot of good work.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this. I just want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining because there's 5 of us from us.
But
And then they were like, "All right, let's limit it
idiots.
to 2 per program." And I was like, "We got 5 if you want." They're like, "Okay." It's just like, all right. And so it's just gonna end up taking over the whole thing, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And then Shayna starts next week.
Starts Monday.
Yes, we have a new
Our final
employee. Yes,
addition to
the
the
Tour
team.
9. The Tour 9. There would be 9 of us. So it's pretty cool to watch this thing grow.
Yep, went from tiny closet, bunch of boxes with me and Mingo in it, to tiny room, bunch of boxes, and 7 people in this one, and then a bunch of people, or 2 in Clinton. So
Yeah,
it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
it'll be cool.
Tiny room.
Yeah, still tiny room, still boxes everywhere, but
I can't wait. I'm pretty excited to see what happens.
who
To
knows?
see where this goes. You never know. You never know.
So y'all have a couple more comments.
All right,
for me.
go ahead with the comment.
Mary said, "Yes, that's it. Just my initials. Ha ha ha." Or LOL. Shanna Beaver. Legend says, "Good morning,
Hey,
fellas.
good morning, Legend.
I'm 207 days well. I will be coming to the
Hey.
meeting tonight. I have a message. Have a blessed day. Love, Legend."
Oh.
And then Cassie B said, "Sweating out Sam's Choice Colas."
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
And good morning. And then Jesse said, "Get with Culture and Heritage or Katie Sullivan. See if you all can make extra gourds to give to the ones that may not have one." And then Cassandra said, "Yay, Shayna."
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's funny.
Oh,
It's funny
wait.
because Katie asked us to do the gourds.
Yeah. Katie asked
yeah,
us to do it.
yeah. We have plenty of spares to give out, and it's good to
Yeah.
see. And then same with shawls. That's where the culture closet came in. We got a bunch of aunties that are in their sweatshop.
Cleaning out their closet.
Yep, and they're just bringing regalia items or making shawls, making tea dresses, all for kids or adults that may need them. So it's
Definitely.
exciting, big things. Yep.
Well, do you think it would be wise to get into this meditation?
Oh,
Maybe.
probably.
Maybe.
That way we can hear your wise words of wisdom. All right. May 29th. Humility is probably the most difficult
Yes.
virtue to realize. Thomas Yellowtail Crow. Two definitions of humility are being aware of one's own defects of character and giving credit where credit is due. This means if you do something and are successful because God gave you certain talents, give credit to God. When someone tells you how well you did, this is being humble. If you are successful at something but had help from friends, spouse, neighbors, give credit to those who helped you. This is being humble. If you have done the task and you alone accomplished it, give credit to yourself. This is being humble. Say the truth and give credit where credit is due.
Mm.
Grandfather, let me walk a truthful road today.
Wow. That's a very powerful statement. And then like for me, when I think about humility, I think about my process and where I was, what I had to go through to understand that I needed help and I needed to find a way out, right? Like I'm not at the time, I'm like, poor me. Like at the time, I'm like, like God doesn't like me. Like my life is a joke.
Mhm.
And now that I've been able to get just a little bit of time under my belt, and you start to understand how God was playing a part in all of that. No way was it meant for me to like God wasn't, he was showing me that wasn't where my focus needed to be. He kept changing the trajectory of my life. He kept stepping in, and like he just kept intervening. I don't know, maybe you could call it divine intervention.
Mhm.
Like he blessed me with desperation. Like that's how far it had to be taken for me to understand like what he truly wanted from me. So like for me, being humble is being thankful that all of that happened for me, right? All the bad. Not every single thing bad, but like the majority of it. I understand today that he kept intervening in my life, but I didn't see it that way. Your mind's so clouded and you're so self-centered that you don't understand like what you're doing to yourself. Like there's just so many times that I thought, like I needed to find a way to do this thing. Like that's where like the thought whiskey and milk always comes in. Let me try a little bit of meth and I'll just drink wine this time. That
Slow,
yeah,
simple
like
food.
yeah, just sip. Let me see how that works out. Okay, that didn't work. Get out of jail again. That was a train wreck. Let me try chasing my vodka with a good steel reserve, and then just smoking a little bit of cocaine, on my cigarette, or like there's so many different variations that I tried. Always ended up in the same place, right? And then as I started, as I was gifted, the desperation, um, I started thinking about like I don't know, like I was the chosen one, right? Like he's bestowing all this, all of this willingness, all of this. Like I'm just all I want is a change, and I'm down for it. Like he gave me an opportunity, and like I'm gonna lead the charge. I'm leading the way. Like I'm the first to ever do it. Like that's how like I was understanding things at the time, and I didn't know what humility meant. I'm trying to help all these different people while I'm in treatment myself. Like not even proving that to myself or anybody else around me that this is how it works. Like all you need is to get in treatment, then you're healed. Like I don't know, like it you just get those types of feelings, right? Like because such good things are happening in your life that you forget, the opportunity that the creator created for you to even feel that. And it's like you've never been there before, so of course your mind's going to take it way past, anything that makes sense, and I was humbled in so many ways. I remember being like on this like do or die mission in California. Because it's easy to do out there, right? Because there's so many people in treatment. And then you come home
Mhm.
and that pink cloud disappears quick. Like I could have went to in Orange County, there was like over 1,000 meetings I could have went to in a week. Here in El Reno there was 14 a week.
Mhm.
you know,
The same
like,
spot.
with the same spot, with the same people, like, and that's when I really had to like focus on myself. It gave me this new understanding that, yeah, you can go to detox. Yeah, that's a great place to be. That's a great place to start. Don't get me wrong about that. And then you get into a program. You get to go to sober living. Like you're learning all these different things that they're teaching you. And I'm taking notes. I'm doing like, I'm being the facilitator's pet, like I'm taking it as serious as I can. But the true work came when I was willing to work on myself.
Mhm.
Like doing the step work. Like that's what gave me the understanding that that step 3. You know, uh Understanding that there's a higher power than me. And it wasn't ever Mahio, leaving me. It was always me leaving him. Getting these bright ideals that okay, all these doors are opening. Like what's gonna benefit me the most? I was still self-seeking, right?
Mhm.
I was still wanting to be I was still needing this validation from other people to make me feel better because I didn't know how to feel good about myself. And it was still like all these different things, like that I didn't understand, that I kind of took it as a negative thing. Like when things didn't go my way, like I didn't know how to take an L. Like oh, here goes God again. Like
Playing his game.
yeah. I guess I'm just a yo-yo, like but I didn't understand how to take an L and how to learn my lesson. Like it's not always going to be ice cream and rainbows. And like it's not always, and understanding that nothing grows without the rain. There are going to be tests. And it is great that you're trying to be somebody different. But are you doing the same thing that you did last time? Like honestly ask yourself that. Like how many times have you been through that process? And how many times like your mind will automatically go back to what's easiest. Like it, like self-preservation. Fight or flight. Your mind's going to always, without your permission, your mind's always going to go back to what's easiest. And for me to understand that, like, it took a lot of prayers, it took a lot of I quit questioning God, and every time a situation would come up, it would turn into like it would turn into like this like that's where my faith would start to show up. Like I understand that I don't know how to handle this problem. Like it's not making sense right here. Like I know what I would do or what I would say, usually I'm a jerk. I'll just be honest. I'm a jerk, right? So like I can probably kill a lot of vibes, but so like I've learned to turn to the creator even when things are good. Understanding that I don't have to do this alone. And sometimes I got to ask the creator to come into my thoughts. Sometimes I got to ask the creator to come into my heart to help me feel better about somebody that I feel like I'm clashing with, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many instances that I have to ask the creator to be present in my life. And it's crazy how I mean, like whenever everything's telling me to go this way, like the wind's not gonna knock over something and then it's gonna switch you like
The sign.
the sign to
Yeah.
go this way.
Somebody bump into it and it spins, just like Rugrats when they were in the final
you
race.
know, like the signs are there. The feeling, like you got to understand how to be humble, and are you ready for the things that you're asking for? Like of course I wanted to be sober and cured from the day I got
The idea popped in your head.
yeah, like I wanted it to be right then and there. But to understand that it's going to take time, it's going to take work. I'm not ready for everything that he's ready for me to be a part of, because we all know like I have no business trying to run anything. Like, I have to get out of the way and allow the creator to do his job. To me, that's what being humble means, is allowing the creator to do what he needs to do for me to have some, it ain't even always got to be a win. Like help me understand the lesson whenever things get hard. Help me understand what it is that like even like being, losing my vision for a little while. I would ask myself, like, what does he need me to see? Like what did he have? Why did he take my vision, and what does he need me to see? When the brother Jake, he was like, maybe he needs you to focus on what's important. Like
maybe that's why. Maybe creator reached into to Nat whenever you're like, I wish I could see this. She's like, why? For what? That was him talking. Yeah. What do you need to see for?
you got to hear my brothers Eddie and Tracer whenever I talk about, like, when you go to the bathroom.
What's it like when you do
Yeah,
this?
what's it like? Like, when do you know when to stop?
So when you bump into it, but
but it's humility. That's huge in recovery, because like, when can you allow the creator, when do you allow the creator to do what he needs to do?
Mhm.
When are you humble enough to understand that you need help? What are you asking for? Are you are you still self-centered in your prayers? I was looking at somebody, and I have nothing against somebody else's recovery, but it just kind of made me think, like, that's his recovery, right? But he's like typing out these prayers, and it's, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, well, it's good that he's thinking that way, but when you post it on Facebook, like, is it
for you or for?
yeah, is it for him, or like that's something between me and God, like, because you never know, when I'm praying, I mean, my emotions are gonna definitely get involved, like, and like Woody Blaine said, crying is the highest form of prayer, so like, it just made me wonder, like, I'm proud, I'm glad, that he's thinking that way, but at the same time, like, when is that too much, but then again, I also think, well, he's new into recovery. Maybe he has to see that to understand that he's talking that, maybe he's speaking these things into existence. But then, like he did that last time, and the time before that, and the time before that.
Sometimes it's self-seeking because it's
Yeah,
seeking validation
sometimes
for
it
somebody to
is
pat you on the
self-seeking.
back, right? Or to
Like, you need that validation, and I like, to me, like, if I was gonna say anything to encourage him, it was like, sit down with your thoughts and your prayers, and just sit inside of them, like, like, this is your time to be selfish. This is your time to work on you. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot for somebody new into sobriety, wanting to heal everybody else before you're even healed. Like, be selfish, put them prayers, like, put that energy that you're, putting out in the world, like, let it be on yourself, like, there's nothing wrong, like, that self-care, it's got to start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
So that was kind of my thoughts on reading today. And I love my brother, like, he's doing great things. I don't want to discourage him, but you know let's try something different. Let's try something new, and let's allow the creator to do what he does, because if Barry's number one problem is, I like to play God. That's Barry's number one problem, is, I like to play God. I like to get in God's way. And it, I still have those, that complex, doesn't really go away all of a sudden. It keeps popping up in my life, and it just helps me understand, like I see it as, I need God more and more. So I mean, like I always say, he's brought me this far. you know uh Life ain't always going to be, ice cream and rainbows.
Ice cream gives me a stomach ache too.
Nothing grows without the rain. And would you say ice cream makes you blow it up? What?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, go ahead. Go
doesn't stop me from eating it though.
ahead. Definitely.
All right. We'll read comments and then I'll go into my
All right,
share.
so comments. Ray said good morning.
Morning, right.
Francis Lambert says need a gourd.
We got you.
Hey, we got you, brother. I told you. Come and jam out. I got you.
Stacy Starr says Mr. Glizzy looks extra hairy today.
Yep.
I did think that said my first. So anyway, Mr. Glizzy looks extra hairy today. Leslie Shortine says
Morning, sister.
good morning, brother. Stacy also says, "Ho Barry, always speaking those good words."
Oh,
And then Phyllis the realist says, "Just notice the set change. Cool.
Springtime yellow.
springtime
I
yellow.
still don't like it. I don't like the color.
Well, we got like a month or two
It'll be fine.
until we go to red. So
It makes
Yeah, we're staying
look washed out.
Yeah, we
in
look
season.
sick.
In season.
yeah, but
We're looking sick.
yeah, you look pale or
Jaundice.
green or
Look
jaundice.
jaundice.
That's what it is.
Scurvy.
Yeah, that yellow. Yeah, because we didn't eat our vegetables or fruits.
My aura.
Jaundice
So-
is your aura.
yeah.
So what's your take,
Fertilize.
I think
Mr. Chibata?
humility plays a part every day, every second of the day. I think being humble is appreciating like you said all the negativity or all the perceived negative things that happen
Yeah.
to you. So my biggest character shaping, I would say, would be, being that kid that was surrounded by drugs and alcohol. But I didn't think of it as a I don't think of it as a negative thing today. And so it's more of, I think it saved me by seeing the difference in
Good and bad.
addiction and recovery, and seeing that between multiple generations, multiple people. And I know humility also comes with self-forgiveness. And so I know that we see a lot of people struggling to self-forgive.
A lot.
And I think you need to give credit where credit is due, and you actually forgive yourself and show that you can overcome things with all your support around you, spiritually or physically, and it'll hopefully relieve a lot of that kind of stress on you and everything. And so, also thinking of, people can provide constructive criticism, and if you're not humble, it's not gonna work out at all. And so I know my most recent defect is I'm not present most of the time, it seems like, in my home life. I'm getting sucked into this job because it's like 24/7 all the time, it seems
Yeah,
like.
it is.
And so Jerica actually like pointed it out to me Monday. And so now I'm making it a point to like restructure, rebalance, be present with my kids, be present with my wife, in that home life, because it's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to get absorbed into this field. But I knew my family was always there. And so that was how I kind of shifted. But I'm hoping now I can actually be determined, be driven to be that better father, be that better husband for my wife and kids. So that way, we can all grow together as we were meant to. And so I'm thankful for, my wife acknowledging my defect. And, I'm thankful that I was able to receive it, still with backlash a little bit, but, actually accept it. And so I think, with Creator by my side or guiding me, it'll go smoothly. We'll have a lot more family time. We'll have a lot more quality time, because I think a lot of it was in my head. I was like, well, I'm physically there, so that should be good enough.
Yeah.
And so now being mentally there, putting my phone in a whole nother room, so that way, I can actually be present, will hopefully pay off. And already having fun with it. And so being humble is definitely something that is easy to kind of realize that you lost it for a little bit.
For sure.
And so I think just kind of doing that daily inventory or anything will help you out, because it's not just hey, I'm humble today, cured. Like it's
check it off the list.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
I
But
did it.
it's definitely needed. It's definitely appreciated. And so, yeah, that's my mini share.
I think
Mini-
it's I think
mini
it's
share.
encouraging to see people in their humility too. Especially that's why I like being around people in recovery that are actually, and I don't want to say that are actually working the steps, but actually, do a justice to their work, because like you'll hear people even change wording that they say something. Like very recently, we were at a conference, and we had some kind of bigwigs come and meet us and me, and I took them over to meet my boss, and we were offering cards, like the little, what are they called, business cards. And I gave him my business card, and I was like, and I'm sorry, my boss doesn't, she ran out of cards. so she doesn't have any. And my boss kind of looked at me and she was like, I don't have any cards to even bring. Like, she quickly corrected that truth, right? Because she ran out of cards, but it was years ago, right? So, like, she doesn't hand them out. But I was thinking about like that moment right there of just truth. It was more true than what I said. And was that me? In my moment of humility, I had to think about that. Like, that was kind of a character defect for me. Like, I could gloss over that and make it
called her out.
sound better. No, she called me out mentally, right? Because like I said that, and it was almost like I was making an excuse for it unintentionally. I wasn't intentionally making that excuse, but it was a habit for us to look more professional, and always on point. And it's okay for you to not always be on point, because that's the humility that comes with being human. I was even thinking about like what the other night or one night we were in Sweat, and like at one point I was like, not hot, like it wasn't like really a hard sweat. And I was like, in some way in my head, I was thinking, that why did I think it has to be so hot that I'm suffering and dying, right? Like, maybe this was my way of, Ofungo or our creator telling me that it doesn't always have to be hard, that there are other lessons to hear and to feel. And maybe it's hard for someone else, and that we're taking that from them, little things like that. But it causes me just little tiny things like that. But if it wasn't for me working my steps and going through recovery and, and being still and silent and making that a concerted effort to do that, I wouldn't be thinking that way. I wouldn't have called myself out on that, on that, my boss, kind of telling a more truth than I did. You know what I mean? And like that's little stuff like that I think it's wonderful about being in recovery, because it helps you to sleep better at night. And I know people sleep at night anyway, don't think about it, but they don't do that work either. So they don't even see it. And why does this microphone seem like it's going further and further down? Okay.
Your big lips pushing.
I was just
down.
shut up.
Lawanda.
Did you say Lawanda? That's Wanda. Her name was
Oh, Wanda.
Wanda.
That was the one.
If you're gonna talk smack right.
Well, you know who I meant.
Mm.
Do I need to leave this couch?
Well,
The
who is
parents are
talking?
arguing.
So Leanna Thomas again says Tay said her brother needs to shave.
I'm just reliving my deployment days. I think maybe I'm going through something.
And brother Jake Chappelle says, "Morning, brothers."
Good morning. Good morning.
And
Recovery
I don't.
over everything. Check out my boy Jake Chappell's clothing line.
Mhm.
He has a bunch of products, that display how you feeling in your recovery.
Even has plus sizes for
Definitely.
the ones that have been in recovery a while. You're living that, getting that happy way.
That good life.
He also said he's a mini share.
Yep. Mini share.
And
My house I can bring.
Phyllis the Realist said, "How do we get that message to many to be in the present?" And y'all aren't even in the present while I'm saying this right now, because
No, I
they're
know,
being
we're
distracted.
by this,
Hang on, Phyllis.
Tita's over here
Hang
making
on.
all these hand signals.
All right, now,
Like where she's at an airport.
and we're back, Mr. Botone.
Oh.
How do we get that message to many to be in the present? Put those phones down. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's out of it. Okay, so Alan Carney says,
You didn't
"Good
give me a chance to
morning."
answer. Damn.
Well, you just went.
Yeah. Good words, Phyllis.
Okay,
That's
good
it?
words.
That's all you did.
All right, go ahead.
Can I answer now?
We're waiting. Everybody's waiting.
Well, I think, healthy habits take practice. Like I said, your mind's always going to revert back to what it knows, like what makes you feel better, like is the instant thing to do. And sometimes, creating healthy habits take work, like every day, like repetitiously, like demanding yourself to do something healthy, like, I don't know, like when I go home, I think I deserve to be parked right in front of the TV. Like I was just thinking about that last night. Like, forget Natalie and what she's got, what she wants to watch, like
Yeah. I
just-
suffered. I was on my phone all day.
yeah. And then then I think about it and it was like, we came out of the sweat last night and she's like, in between rounds, laughing and telling me about what somebody else posted. Like, check this out, like,
Just like that.
yes, just like that. And like I don't know, like I'm just so used to like I gotta control everything, right? So like I just I don't know, like, and I didn't even say, it's just going through my mind, like, oh, that can wait till tomorrow,
I was checking the Thunder score too.
but I'm like healthy habits take practice. Like you don't think, you think like one thought may come across my mind, and I start declaring things right then and there, like, you know what I need to do, and just as soon as the thought goes, and it's gone. Like it never happens. And I have so many of those moments, where then a month or two later, then I'll have the thought again, like,
Get back 0 to 100 right then.
you remember when I said, like,
Yes,
nothing
yes, we do.
happened, like, but I mean, healthy habits, they take practice. I mean, like I said, your mind, it always goes back to what's easiest.
Because that self-talk is real bad
Yeah, that
too.
self-talk.
Like
is always
earlier,
easy.
whenever you were like, I'm not even gonna get my hopes up.
Yeah,
I
about
mean,
your eye appointment.
well,
Why is that?
because last time I thought it was over with, and then they told me I have to have another surgery and have the oil for another 90 days. Like that. That was like, it really like hurt my pride and ego.
That was future tripping too.
Well, I mean,
Trying to control.
not even really that. I mean, but I was looking forward to not having to be blind. Like that was an actual like
Yeah.
thing that I was ready for. Like I'm on the road to recovery. Then I get over there and they're like, nah, like you need another surgery and we're gonna do this again. Which I'm thankful for. Now I can say, you know what? I am so glad that somebody was there to tell me, like, do you want to keep on being blind, or do you want to take the time that it's going to take for you to see correctly?
And then, like after that, you started meeting multiple people that went through the exact.
I know, right?
Right.
And so it's just
Mr.
Right.
Albert Titman,
yeah, falling into place.
shout out Tim and Wesley Paul.
Yeah.
People in recovery that are functioning perfectly fine. I mean, they can't drive at night, but I mean, for the most part, they're living
But they
life.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. They're legally not supposed to.
Yeah,
But
they're living life happily. And that was the most
By
important
life's
thing to
terms.
me. And that's just what it is. And ain't that I'm looking negative at it, like, oh, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Like, no, like if this is how God needs me to be, then so be it. Like I don't see it as like the first couple of months I'm like, this is so horrible. But every day I'm seeing little bitty like improvements every day. And I mean, it's like I'm watching God work. You know what I mean? If I would have sped through that process, I would have missed that
took it for
whole
granted.
I would have missed that whole process. So it ain't that I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Like, like for what? Like I've gotten comfortable. I don't want to spend my life like this, but like it is what it is, and I'm not afraid, to go through life like this anymore. Like I'm making it work, and and a huge part of that is because of Natalie. Give credit where credit's due, and and if anything, I'm learning how to be thankful for what I do have. One day I was mumbling to myself, and I said, I'm just glad I can see a little bit, like, because I bumped into something. It was like in a dark room, and I bumped into something. I opened the door, and I was like, I'm just glad that I can see a little bit. And she's like, what did you see?
You talking trash about my meatloaf?
Yeah. And I was like, I was just saying that I'm thankful that I can see a little bit. You know, like it was that simple. She's ready to kill me, but nah, I'm just kidding.
She's the one that you bumped into.
Yeah.
Knocked
They're
me
just
over.
standing
Didn't even help me up.
Why did you stiff arm me? Yeah. No.
That was being extra.
Calm down. Calm down. Well, do we have any more comments?
Yeah, we had some.
Darian's getting
Let's
reckless
see,
over
we'll
here.
go,
Here, no,
back
can't
up
have
to Alan Carney. Good morning, relatives from Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Oh, hey, good morning. Good morning.
My brother Joshua Pickett, Estongo brothers.
Oh, Stongo, Stongo.
From work somewhere in Oklahoma.
All
Stay
right, all right.
blessed.
Thank you for tuning in, brother.
Bial says, I don't gotta, but I get to enjoy life.
Wow, I like that. I like that.
And he says, I would rather be happy in a recovery rather than be sober and miserable.
Wow, yes.
And then Jake said, attitude. That was whenever you was like, can I talk now?
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah. Becoming the superstar again.
Well, damn, you just read some, cut me off.
Well, I was talking to y'all for a full 30 seconds and y'all were not paying any attention.
I heard you.
So
Well, we had a question about our grilling today. They were asking if we were going to bring lighter fluid.
Stacy said those two are on a whole nother level this morning. That fade though. Okay, Phyllis the realist.
Yours? Mine?
Phyllis the realist says, "Ha ho!" I know
Homeless
the
man.
lack
They
thereof.
did a long time ago.
Yeah.
Ha ho! It's really as simple as that. Forgiving yourself and keep on keeping on, establishing good habits.
Yes, for sure.
Misty Hickson said, "Maybe God is teaching you patience and to rely on His timing."
Definitely.
That's
You know,
exactly what
that
it
is a
is.
huge thing, you know, because one time me and Jake's having a conversation, right? He was like, you don't ask for patience. You know, like you don't ever ask for patience. And I'm like sitting there thinking, like, you know, like why, you know, like I don't know what would make me so scared of patience, you know, like
because you'll get a lesson that will
yeah,
have to
because you'll get a
force it to
lesson
teach you.
that it's already happening. You know what I mean? Like just the thought coming across your mind, like it's already happening, but I think by the time you realize it, you know what I mean? Like it's probably been a good deal of time, you know, like and it's like wow, like he's been working, you know, like this whole kind of like how I think about the sweat rocks, right? Like God created those sweat rocks millions of years ago. And look how much time it took for me to be able to get in front of them and leave all my problems with them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that started millions of years ago. You know, like its whole life was for me to give prayer to it. You know, like just I think about that, you know, and it makes me think like I could go a couple more months without you know
Yeah.
without all the amenities of sight.
Yeah,
you know?
without 4K Ultra HD vision.
Yeah. 3D, you know, 4D. You know, you know, I'm surviving. You know, I'm not. But yeah, me and Jake were having that conversation, and it just made me realize, like, wow, God is definitely working in my life. You know, so thank you for that comment, Misty, and good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Levi said, "Can we get a shout out to South Coast
No,
OKC?"
no, we can't.
Yeah, we can highlight the.
Sorry.
That's the best we got.
Nah.
Yeah, that's the best we got for you.
Good morning, South Coast Behavioral. You know, you know, I get to spend a lot of time, you know, in prayer with my brother David. You know, we do a lot of the same things. You know, we have a life outside of recovery, right? And I do got to say, man, that guy really cares about you all. You know, he really thinks about you all whenever he's not at work. And he doesn't have to think about those things, you know. He's interested in wanting to know what it's going to take for you to help yourself. You know, help him help you. You know, and sometimes, you know, all you just never know, you know, you just never know. You know, he was talking about some clients leaving the other day, and it's that that's the good and bad of watching people grow. But then, like my boy Chad always says, you're planting these seeds, and whenever they grow fruit, you'll never ever get to taste those fruits. Like somebody else is going to, you know, uh, be able to experience, what they went through. And that's what this recovery thing does, is like it's a constantly going thing. So I'm real proud of all the I don't want to say clients. I like to think of people who are in treatment as students. You're learning something else about yourself. Your recovery is turning into discovery. So give yourself a chance, and tell my boy Dallas, his bro Barry said what's up, and pay attention, to what Mr. Levi has to say. So once again, shout out to South Coast Behavioral. Was that good?
Hmm.
Was that good?
No, I think it was too long.
Oh well.
Yeah, all he wanted was just you to say shout out. Yeah,
Shout out
he didn't want to lecture.
Coast.
Yeah.
He didn't say make him cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any more comments?
Jake said, "Yeah, you better shout her out. Hang on, you better shout her out. Putting up with the attitude, LMAO. Just kidding." Kimberly Sexton said, "Osio, Osio."
Yo.
Anessa said,
Hello.
"Good morning, guys.
Good morning, sister.
Got to
About
get
to
to
get-
these
yeah.
meetings today. Get
All
these meetings
right.
today."
Hope your interview went good, sis. Hope your interview went good.
And then Jake said, "Great analogy." Then he said, "It was all right. It was mid."
Yeah.
Mid-30s?
Mid-30s, as Mingo would say.
I told Mingo he was mid last week, and he goes, mid-30s.
Yeah.
Like my mid-30s were popping, bro.
What are you doing with your life?
Yeah. Well, is that it? Do we have any more comments, or what's up?
So far.
Friday men's meeting.
Friday
Night meeting. And
tonight we
Friday-
Night
have
meeting.
the meeting. Yes, here in 1950 South Shepherd, here in El Reno. Park in the back. Come through the back door. It is a talking circle, well-variety talking circle. All of the public is invited. We don't want to ever leave anybody out. And we have a bunch of people that are new to the program. So I get a lot out of the meeting. I enjoy just being able to be there for people that are just looking for a little bit of guidance. Maybe even like not life's lessons over here, but maybe just how to get through a simple to simplify your day, if that's ever possible.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not, but it's okay. We're still here every Thursday at 7:00. And then on Friday nights, we haven't even really been saying a lot about this, but we have a men's meeting on Friday night here at 1950 South Shepherd at 7:00.
You can go to the media.
Um,
Is it all updated?
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And then remove both of those.
the ideal is, the ladies, they have their own time during the week. Our Women's Wednesday, which we love for this community, because it's a lot of good things happen. A lot of great feelings are going on. So we're trying to provide that same kind of energy for the men. Just something we can, what do we call it? He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Yeah.
No,
The official name.
yeah.
Yeah.
The unofficial.
was
name.
Like
longer.
the mud
Yeah.
between my toes.
Yeah.
You make me
Gotta-
He
sick.
made
It
me
is.
sick.
See, another woman Rugrats little reference. See, I told you, it's like the little sign.
No, it's not at all. It's not a woman bashing hour, but
Candy.
there's just some things that men can talk about that are hard to talk about when women are in the room. So,
Also,
You know-
shout out to Dell.
and yes, shout out to Dale Pedron. My brother got his 90-day chip. He's gonna come over here and get it tonight.
Mm.
So that's amazing. I love my little brother, man. He lives downstairs from me. So
So you see all the aunties going in?
yeah, I see all the aunties
Mhm.
coming and going.
Yeah.
No offense
Today.
to. I'm just saying, if y'all's watching, it's really only just you.
Yeah, you're not on a roster.
Yeah, you're not on a roster at all. He's not. Anti-Slayer is just something that we call him for
That's his
fun.
past life.
Yeah, I mean,
It's changed.
we call him Dale because he don't lie no more.
Yeah, he said my name.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But congratulations to my little brother, man. That's a huge accomplishment. And I just really enjoy getting on here. It feels like I ain't been on here in a
Yeah,
while.
It's been a while for both of us. The duo,
I had
the
to
uncle nephew duo that you had to force me into.
I had to force him
Oh.
to get on here today.
Mhm.
But you did great. So yeah, and your mom was watching?
I know. I got my sister apparently too.
Wow.
Y'all been on an hour and
See?
16 minutes.
See?
We're doing a marathon. It's gonna be
Marathon.
until we're grilling.
Well, we appreciate all the comments. Hope everybody has a blessed day. And I guess we will be back tomorrow. I don't know who's exactly going to be on the couch.
I'll just make Mingo solo it.
Yeah, we'll
The
just make
OG
Mingo the OG hot stuff.
Yep. Mingo, eye candy, white man.
But I really enjoy just getting on here and bro, I could talk up a damn storm. So
Yeah.
hope every yeah. So it's just something I enjoy. I do not mind at all. And I guess we will see you tomorrow. So
Mhm.
like, share, follow, tell your mammy about us, and we will see you again soon. I hope.